So I have been thinking about a video blog, and all it took was about a month and a half of me really just playing around with the platform and having and seeing people's faces watching it. And that was really fun. And I thought, well, a vlog or a podcast. I mean, what's the difference, right? I mean, yeah, you're going to see me sometimes. Right now, this is camera. So, um, but because I want there to be something to be seen, but I just want it to be a little more stylish. I do find that I can play with just these, like just my blankets, and it's a lot more interesting than the dark or the garbage or just using my dress. But all this to say is, I think that I've got so much on my mind, and I'm one of those people that unfortunately starts way too many projects when I get excited and I never really finish them. I am working on a podcast, but let's put a pin in that. For now, I would like to start expressing myself in ways that are, I guess, for me, more or less serious, like it from a serious place, from a very real place, because I do love to be a comedian. I love to joke. And when I'm singing songs, it comes from a real place, but it's also there's always a bit of a character that you always even like any artist understands that. I think like even a painter can understand how you almost like become almost like intertwined with the thing you're painting, becomes part of you almost like anything. And but I lost my thought, which is a big part of this whole damn plot. The plot of this thing that I'm doing. When a bee stings, it dies. That's sad. I don't want that to happen. Okay, stop. Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of that. I'd like to title each one, and I'd definitely like to have like a more or less like of a time limit. How much time would be good? Because I'm thinking sometimes I was listening, and this for anybody, I don't know who's going to listen to this. For all I know, it's someone across the world who has no idea about my story. And I start from the middle, but maybe you find out more as you listen, right? And I think that's important too. I don't think being like establishing the whole situation before I start talking, although that's good for essays and building a thesis. And it's a very linear way of explaining something. I've never been linear. I've been lateral, I think, in a lateral way. Some people call it scattered. And yes, I would say that there are elements of scatteredness that uh, kind of skip their rope in my little noggin. I'm trying to think of some metaphor. I don't know. But I guess the part of me that feels so motivated to do this, because there's a few things, right? First of all, I like talking. Second of all, I've been pretty isolated. Third of all, I don't think I'm ready to really get out in society yet. Um, right now, I'm perfectly normal. I sound normal. I'm good. Someone knocked on my door, I'd reluctantly open it and say, "What's up?" Uh, although no one really knocks on my door, but no sorries. Don't feel sorry for me. I mean, we're all going through our own um, isolation, and some of us just feel it more. Some of us are more sensitive about it. I'm a single person. I live close to my family. I go through lovers quickly, but I'm trying to stay away from it. I'm not as bad as most people. Some people go from lover to lover to lover to lover. I go from lover and then I'm like dying and then I get better and then I meet a new lover and then I die for a bit and then I get better. That's me. I'm a total love-lorn motherfucker. But I'm a lot of other things too. It'd be nice if I could have a platform, a podcast platform, or a vlog platform where I could really just involve. Because when I talk, sometimes like I do feel like I want to play some of my piano. I know that sounds. I don't. That's not crazy. Like what? I'm like I've got a song that like I just like I heard this song play in my head and like when I was in theater school and in university, I mean this is how we would talk. and it was completely respected. And I'm not saying that people don't around here where I live, which is in, it's definitely up north in a foresty area for miles and miles. It's very close to the Ottawa border, to the Ontario border, and it's close to Ottawa, about 40 minutes away by drive. But it's very boony, it's very woodsy, it's very hunty, and it's very different from Montreal. And I moved to Montreal at 17. I moved back here on my 32nd? No, on my 33rd birthday. Well, a month before. And I didn't want to. Oh, no, did I not. But I did. And then over time, because it's been 5 years since I've been here, I think. Wait, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. 2020. Yeah, it's going to be 5 years this September. There's been a lot about this area that I do love very much. However, one thing is that my expression has started to come back. That need to express myself in ways that I can fondly remember my theater friends and my theater buddies doing. And I think that it's not that people don't like it around here. No one, well, some people have explicitly said it. However, it's only been from people who have other reasons to be angry at me. So I've got to take it with a grain of salt. However, the way they said it, it kind of confirmed a lot of the things that I felt. And the person also said that yeah, most people around here think you're completely nuts and incredible, and they've always felt that way no matter what. Can't escape that. And that hurt. And again, not a sob story, just talking about that, trying to stand apart from it. A lot of people would say, well, who cares? Who cares what people think? Who cares what people think? But some of us do, some of us do. Sometimes those things stick and it hurts. And especially when, depending, again, I use this word so many freaking times. I use disclaimer, variables, but also absolutely, I use that word a lot. There's a couple words I use a lot, yeah. And I don't really know what's going to come out of this, but I think something fun is, because I find that when I kind of just start talking, things just come out. And, one person, a mean person, said that he's oh, well, not about these things, just about when I would fight, and he'd be like, you're just like white noise. And I'm like, and that's what I was thinking when I was listening to myself talk. I'm like, maybe this is just a nice way for people to listen to something before they go to sleep, or when they wake up, or in the afternoon. And so that means that I have to make sure that the volume of my voice on this podcast doesn't because on the Facebook story sometimes it's depending where I am, my voice will sound louder. So maybe that's another thing, because look, I'm going to be honest with you right now. Yes, I'm not doing, I have diaries upon diaries upon diaries of thoughts. I have recordings upon recordings upon recordings of discussions like this, but I've never really put it out to the world. And I see now how I am feeling very, very isolated, and I feel like I need some sort of community, even if that community itself, I feel that I've already built a community on Facebook. Yes, I've had some people who haven't been very nice, but they're people that I actually had to deal with in the real flesh, not just on Facebook. But I feel there are people who watch my stories, and I don't, again, I try not to really pay attention to that, but I am happy to see that there are people following me, because it tells me that I mean something, that I'm worth it. A part of me wants to believe it's because it's actually interesting. I think some of it is. And, I just want to say one thing right now, because I want to title this episode Craziest of Crazies 100%. Or do I? Maybe I'll reserve that for another episode. And the reason I say that is because, well, it was said to me. And again, I don't. It's hard, there's reason. Craziest of, chop. And I'm not going to edit this, because I just don't know. I find it chops it up. And then again, it's two different videos. But, yeah. I want this podcast to be about, I guess, the struggles of somebody who is having a hard time. Like, yes, I have mental illness, but I don't want it to bang, bang, bang that. I want it definitely to be about somebody who's struggling right now to get back on her feet. I have some substance abuse issues, legal for anyone who's interested. Marijuana that I buy from the SQDC or whatever, and beer. I can't do anything else. And why am I being so honest? Well, because I think it's important. That's what this is about. This is not an a, it should be entertaining, but I want to be real. That's all I want to be. Because I know the real me is there is something effective about me in a positive way. I believe that. And I say that because a lot of people have said, just leave people alone. No one likes you. And I'm like, all right, well, that doesn't, and that's not very nice, right? And yeah, I think this podcast, vlogcast, whatever, is about, I guess, one person's experience with mental health issues, the COVID pandemic or the aftermath of it, isolation, loneliness, and like my own mental health issues and like the types of things that I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And also trying to, as much as I can, really try to normalize some of the things that should be normalized, and definitely not, I don't want to normalize the things that shouldn't. But there are things that do need to be normalized, and it actually doesn't have much to do with my mental illness. You see, somebody told me recently, and again, this is partly why I want to make this podcast, is that because I come from, I guess, a creative school of thought, creative doctrine, whatever. I went to university for frickin' playwriting, and I went to theater school, and I love them both. But I love the crowds there. But the thing is what was I going to say? Here we go. Oh no, this is me. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind over the sea. Oh yeah. I was talking about writing, acting. What? I can't go back to find out what I was gonna say. Fuck. See, this is the problem. But that's okay. What I'm hoping for is that this could turn into something where people can ask me, what were you saying there? And then I can talk about that. I can build into something more, Rome wasn't built in a day, and that's why I'm playing around with all these platforms right now, because I think that, even if you're going through like a horrible time, and I've gone through quite my share of horrible times in my experience, whether it's my fragile mind, my mental illness, well, they're both the same correlation. Oh my God, when I was going for a walk today, I was thinking about something about correlation. The correlation of, oh, fuck, I forget. See, that's what this podcast is going to be about too. A very messy minded girl. But I've always wanted to speak my mind. I've always wanted to talk, to express. And fuck, man, I think, my mom even says, I think you might be seen as a bit of a nuisance. And I'm like, I don't want to be. Of course not. I don't enjoy it. That's not why I do this. I do this to connect, definitely. I can be a bit obnoxious, for sure, when I'm in a good place, when I'm feeling fine and I have no worries in the world. I haven't been obnoxious for a long time. I've been desperate. I've been panicked. I've been rageful, but I've not been obnoxious. Vindictive, yes, probably. Probably, yes. And those are things I'm not proud of, but that's what this is about. This is about, well, I guess me. I'm the only one here and my cat. It's about me. It's about whoever's listening to this, I guess, too. Whether it's just to help put you to sleep or wake you up in the morning or just check on me. But it's also about maybe my own experiences living with mental illness, living with a lot of shame and guilt and embarrassment about what I've done, and how the kind of like there's been desensitization in good ways and bad. So there's been desensitization with how maybe I can be like cross people's boundaries. But there's also been desensitization with how I identify with my mental health issues. I'm no longer ashamed of that. In fact, like I have no problems, and that itself can be a little bit hard for certain people. And so I don't want to force it down anyone's throat, you know. This is definitely not a choice. This is definitely not something that I want. And it's something that I can get better at, right? I mean, I am a human being, and I want to be able to be who I am without needing to feel so guilty about it. Now, I've always been called crazy, and that's a word I don't particularly like. But it's a word I've been called so many times by so many people, so many different demographics, that it must be true, right? But I must also, just a minute here, the word crazy, like I've been had it called like, oh, you're so crazy, Jess. Like that doesn't hurt. It's the context of which it speaks from. It's where it comes from. If someone's like, you're just fucking nuts, you're just crazy, you're the craziest bitch. You crazy, she's crazy, don't you? Crazy, 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 craziest of crazies, 100%, you know? Like, that is difficult, especially when you know that, like, I mean, like, that was something that, you know, I think I've always had, that's always fault. You can't run away from crazy. Crazy will follow you wherever you go. But I don't like that word. And again, this is like a disclaimer to anybody who is offended. The reason I'm using it is because I want to take it back from someone. I want to take it back. I want to take that word back. You know, I don't want to call anyone else crazy, but if I want to call myself crazy, I should be damn well allowed, because freedom of speech, freedom of expression, people have called me crazy in ways that have been very dismissive, as if because I'm crazy, I don't really deserve a life. Absolutely, I'm not making this up. This is real. People can be cruel. And that's hard for me to accept, because I guess that in the past 5 years, even though I have seen a lot, there's other parts of me that's been very sheltered. And I had to learn the hard way that people can be really, really judgmental and morally disgusted of somebody who is dealing with mental health issues. It's not always pretty. And again, I mean, look, I'm a victim of this illness, but they are too. I mean, it's just that definitely, I think, chicken or the egg, that's always something, cause and effect, vicious cycle, all of that. It can get really, really overwhelming very fast. And sometimes when you are isolated because of all of that, and then for me, I mean, it's the love relation, the flings that I get into, you know. Um, when you're isolated for so long and then you meet someone who love bombs the shit out of you, and you're smart enough to know you're being loved bombed. I knew. I knew. But I did it anyway. I went with it anyway, so that's partly my fault, right? It was really hard to turn away from. I was very vulnerable. I hadn't been told that for a long time. If, in fact, I don't think I'd ever really been told that much by somebody. It was hard not to think that they liked me, even though I knew I was being loved bombed. So there's things that definitely, like, I am guilty for doing, because, like, I did get very angry at this person, and here I am going on tangents, but it's all part of the same thing. It's about the crazy this, the crazy, and the other crazy, and then this crazy. But this blog is more for just talking about my life, I guess, because I do find that it is kind of secluded, kind of like hermit-like, but there's a lot going on, and maybe it will be of interest to someone. There's a part of me that believes somewhere deep down some of this is interesting. Um, in the beginning, I was like, no, I need to make like I really need to organize it. I'm gonna have like an intro, and then I'm gonna do this, and I'm like, dude, Jess, you're too, like, right now, that's not the time. Get this out. Maybe that will build as it goes, right? But I want this to speak to more people than just myself. You know, I want it to be able to, and not out of pity for me do I want it to speak to people, which is, I understand, I get it, you know. I mean, if people feel guilty about feeling sad for my situation, don't, because I get it. And I like to show that I can get better, you know, because I do, I have a fight in me. I know I do. I don't give up. In fact, I think that's what makes me so selfish. I've been called, I selfishly try to survive. But why can't I just do it like everyone else? Why can't I just shut the fuck up, sit down, do my shit, and live? Well, maybe I'll be able to answer that at some point. But right now, I'm still a little lost, and I'm really hoping that these kind of like talks are good for me and good for you. And also, there's going to be other things. Like, I don't want to just talk about like isolation, mental illness, loneliness, but I don't want it to be like some sad thing all the time, right? Yes, sad things come into it because if it didn't, if mental illness was all fun and games, if it was like a cheery rainbow Mary Poppins life, people wouldn't be. Well, look, mania can do that, right? But like what I'm saying is that if mental illness was kind of like the like being, really fit, healthy, and having like a great job, right? It wouldn't be a problem. So of course mental illness has its negatives. It has its kind of those sad points. But what I'm trying to do is make positive something that is very messy. Because the thing is that yes, I feel bad for myself. Yes, I feel like some things are not fair, but there's other things that I've caused and it's getting overwhelming. But at the same time, I do have the privilege as somebody who is this lost as I am to be able to record these things safely in my own shelter and talk about it before it's too late. And I don't mean to say that I'll hurt myself. I'm just saying that there are some people like me who'd be on the streets or in the hospital. They wouldn't get that chance. So like maybe I'm speaking for them too. I don't want to say that. I don't know if I'm speaking for them. Maybe I am. I don't know. Am I? I hope so. I hope I'm doing something more than just for myself, right? If I can't give back money wise, if I can't give back through anything else but to just offer this truth, this honesty, this, the fact that, and I'm going to bring up some things like if I continue to do this, and I've got a bunch of projects, but like they've all been coming to the same place. I'm working on a podcast about a relative of mine that went missing, but I'm also started to realize that I really do like the kind of like radio talk platform, like the radio talk. I really like to radio talk. And I like to show my face as well, but I do find it can be more interesting when you're just like kind of having to listen. Because, yeah, what else am I going to say? It's going on 22 minutes a day and I got nothing to say. Yeah, but like I did a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy and like there's some really interesting stuff that I think would be of help for a lot of people, especially like being able to identify what our emotions are, like, and also like what the opposite of those emotions are. So I'll leave you with this. Some of you may already know this. I didn't until like last year. But the opposite of anger is gratitude. And so I have a lot of gratitude that I can do this. And I thank you so much for anyone who listens. I love you very much. You have no idea. Mwah. Take care. Love you. Love you. You are cherished. You are loved. You are loved. You are cherished. Love you.